Okay, 6 academics is cooking, it's to go with Akito, begin to exist to Kodakute boy, Ekiopsis cannot do this. Okay, Odakito or Kolton, academics is to go. It's a good day. Today I'm going to be talking about morning routines, Ekiop, just cannot do this, or what we do in the morning. Okay, let's get started. Okay. So in this lesson, we're going to be going over conversation and then some related grammar. So our conversation, Ekyop apenakos, or Ekyop siskanotonis, what we do in the morning. So we'll have makinita, female character, or the mother, and then pitas kumapi, her son. Pitas kumapi is eagle boy, kind of a common name. And then makinita is the Blackfeet way of saying Margaret. So makinita. Damig siskanotun pitas kumapi. Six kanotun makinita. Kimuksaya existutus pitas kumapi. Nitsiko mesistiko makinita. Ya marakistutuset. Pitas kumapi. Pitas kumapi. Krakstoju spa. Testsokin. Makanita. Netkojuus. Istokskitest. Niitakit. Makanita. Netkojuus istokskitest. Pitas kumapi. Tsiksamatsi. Makanita. Astamionita kit. Anniko kitessapo. Pitas kumapi. So we'll go over it in English now. Makinita says, Itamixkanotuni. Itamixkanotuni means good morning, or literally happy morning. Pitas kumapi, that says, yes, it is a pleasant morning. Aksixkanotuni. And these are two common ways of saying good morning. Itamixkanotuni literally means happy morning, and aksixkanotuni means pleasant morning. But they can both be used to say good morning. Next, Makanita says, Kimuksayak sistutuks. Kimuksayak sistutuks. Which means, why have you not gotten ready? And then Pitas Kumapi says, Mitsikome sistiko. I'm too tired. Mitsikome sistiko. The Makanita says, Yeah, Matak sistutuksit. Which means, geez, just go get ready. Access to means to get oneself ready. And then pitas kumapi says, which means yes, but it's kind of saying okay in this instance. So makinita saying, geez, just go get ready. And pitas kumapi saying, okay. And then pitas kumapi says, are you going to cook? That's soaking. I'm hungry. And then makinita says, nedakokoyos istokshkitests. Nitakit. Saying, yes, I'll cook pancakes. Hurry up. Then she says, same thing, just kind of continuing on. And then nitpitas kumapi says, tsiksamatsi. Thank you. It's one way of saying thank you. Tsiksamatsi means I appreciate it. Makanita says, stamionita kit annikok. Videsapop. Stamionita kit means just hurry up. Stamionita kit. Annikok means like here it comes. There it is. Desapop means what we ride in, and it can be used to refer to really vehicles in general, but we also use it to refer to a bus. And then there are multiple ways to say bus, but this is one that I have heard and used the most. Pitas humapi then says, kita matsin. Kita matsin. I'll see you later, or goodbye. And now for our grammar points. The first one is being transitive verbs. And so what a transitive verb is a verb that is acting upon something. And so if I'm talking about one person and I use a transitive verb, it means they're acting on another person. And we can use transitive verbs two different ways in Blackfoot. The first is if we use och and then a verb. And this just makes an intransitive verb, as in a verb that inherently doesn't act upon something. Transitive. So for instance, if we take the verb oyose, to cook, it's inherently intransitive. So if I said nitsoyos, it's just saying I cooked, not necessarily cooked anything, just I cooked. And we could use och in front of it to say ochkoyos, ochsoyos, to cook something. So if I said nitoksoyos, iksisakwa, then I cooked meat. Iksisak was meat. So nitoksoyos, iksisakwa. And then oyi is to eat something, and it's inherently intransitive, so you're just eating. So if I just nitsoi, I'm saying I ate nitsoi. But if I add och in front of it, ochsoi, ochsoi. So for instance, if I said, nitoksoi iksisakwim, and I ate meat, nitoksoi iksisakwim. And then there are verbs that are inherently transitive, and such as if you were to kind of classify them, it'd be verbs that are transitive on animate things or verbs that are transitive on inanimate things. So VTI, or verb transitive inanimate, is just kind of a fancy word to say that it's an action word that's acting upon an inanimate object, so a non-living thing. And it typically ends, not all of the time, but a lot of the time it ends with attu, attu. So for instance, owattu is to eat something. Owattu. To conjugate this, we'd say nitowattu, I ate it. Nitowattu. So we don't necessarily need an object. When we are lacking an object and we use our transitive verbs, our inherently transitive verbs, and say nitowattu, and you have no object, you're saying I ate it. This it then becomes the object by default, since you're not talking about anything. Nitowattu, I ate it. And then if we're talking about animate things, they're typically or inherently animate verbs, inherently transitive animate verbs, they're going to typically end with at. At. So for instance, sitsipsat, to talk to someone. Since it's always going to be someone, it's just inherently transitive, inherently transitive animate. So if I said nitsitsipsata, and I have no object, it's automatically going to be like him or her. So if I said, nitsitsipsata, I'm going to be saying I spoke with him / her. But we could also add an object. So if I said, nitsitsipsata, geo, I'm saying I talked with the woman. But if I just say nitsitsipsata, I talked to him or her. And then this is how we conjugate for VTI, which is verb transitive inanimate. So when we're acting on something that's not alive, for the first and second person. So with me and with you, if I'm talking about me or you, this is how we'll do it. We'll have our pronoun, which is either saying me, you, or him. In this case, me or you, our verb or our action word, and then kind of an eep or oop. It's kind of a P at the end of the verb. So for instance, what means to eat something. owatu. So if I said, oh, nitowatu, I ate it. Nitowatu. Or I could say, gitowatu, you ate it. Gitowatu. Nit means I, git means you. So nitowatu, I ate it. Gitowatu, you ate it. And this is how we'd conjugate for, and by conjugate, if you're unfamiliar with the term, it just means what you do to the verb to change it when you're talking about something. And so in this instance, conjugation, I'm saying what I'm talking about is what I'm doing to the verb to make it so that we're talking about the third person, or kind of him or her, just kind of someone off in the distance, not me or you, but another person. We take our verb and we add M at the end. So for instance, we'll take the same verb, owatu, to eat something. If I say owatum, it's in she or he ate it. Owatum, which is different from if I were to say netowatu, I ate it, or gitowatu, you ate it. I say owatum, she ate it, or he ate it. And this is how I conjugate if what's being acted upon is animate or alive with the first and second person. So if I'm talking about me or you, same thing, pronoun, the verb or action word, and then kind of go wa at the end. So let's take the verb sitsipsat to converse with someone. I could say sitsipsata, I talk to him. Or get sitsipsata, you talk to him. And as you could see, this W is in parentheses because we don't always put the W. The only time we're going to put the W is if our verb ends with a vowel sound. So if it ends with a, e, u, whatnot. If it ends with a consonant sound, then we're going to cut it out and just use the a. This is why we have nitsitsipseta and we have gitsitsipseta. And then when we conjugate for the third person, we take our action word, our verb, and then we add ey. Ey. So for instance, if we take sitsipsat again, we could say, sitsipsat siwai. Sitsipsat siwai. He spoke to him or her. Sitsipsat siwai. And we have ey. So you might be wondering why we don't say sitsipsat dy. It's because the d sound doesn't exist in Blackfoot. There's no ti. It becomes tsi. So we add this s to make it flow. Sitsipsatsiwai. Our next grammar point is imperative, and what an imperative is a command. And so generally, imperatives are going to be formed by adding a t at the end of the verb. And then a lot of the time, not all the time, not a lot of the time, sorry, but sometimes we'll add stem before the verb to kind of create intensity of the command, to make it more intense. So for instance, oyi means to eat. If I say oyit, I'm saying eat. I'm telling you to eat. If I said stamoyit, I'm saying just eat. And we typically use this when we're talking to children. Stamoyit. You don't really want to use this with elders. So yeah. Stamoyit is kind of to make it more intense, to add more of an obligation, more of a necessity, make it more, yeah, it's really to make it more intense. Can't think of a better word, but yeah. So yeah, we just take normal verbs or action words and we add t at the end. So let's go back and give you an example. So oatu means to eat something. So if I wanted to say oatut, I'd be saying eat it. Let me kind of look. Oyosi means to cook. If I said oyosit, I'd be saying cook, like commanding it to cook. Or I could say stamoyosit, just cook. And there are other things that we use to our command to create it, but those are the most common. And then for this lesson, I don't really have a cultural point to add. So genye. kita kita matsuno. Wow. See you all later.